Hey, we are two Star Wars nerds, and finally we're back talking about the Clone Wars again. If you don't know, we're going through the Clone Wars in chronological order, arc by arc, the best we can. It gets a little messy in there. But today we're talking about the arc Corruption of Mandalore. It's 2 episodes, 305 and 306. And yeah, this is a very political arc. So I'll go over maybe the super high view thing in like 30 seconds if I can, and then we can start with what you think. So this is the one where you're back on Mandalore, and Padme's visiting Satine, and then a bunch of kids get sick at they're showing up in the hospitals, and then you find out it's from schools that they're getting sick and all this. And this is where you find out that to cut costs, it was the tea was being diluted with flavin or something, some chemical that was supposed to not have any side effects, but it does. Yep. And then the Jedi Council is investigating corruption that's going on and all of this. It's kind of starting to unveil all this stuff. And this is Ahsoka and the little kids, essentially. This is the one where Satine ends up in prison. The Prime Minister, Mandalore, takes over, kind of under connections with some insidious people. Yep. And then they overthrow the corrupt government. That's essentially what happens. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on it? I have bolded my thoughts in our notes. And It's interesting, but... yeah,
I think this arc is actually interesting. It intrigues me, and I like that it's different, but it still feels like Star Wars to me. But I think my favorite part is how Ahsoka, I think if I'm remembering right, she's somewhat punished and has to go and teach the kids.
I think so.
It's some sort of punishment if I'm remembering correctly. So she's, I don't think, fully happy about that, but then obviously she ends up getting to get some, get to fight and all that, which is what she wants to actually do. But what I really liked is just how what she was teaching the kids took to heart, and they put into practice what she was saying. And at first she was saying hey, you guys shouldn't be doing this, you're looking too much into things, I don't think that's what's really going on. But then to see when Ahsoka sees the truth, then they all work together. And so I really like that she is teaching them that, and then they're put in a place where it's are you actually going to put into practice what you've learned, even though there's consequences. There's always consequences, good or bad, but are you willing to pay the price for the consequences and fight for what's right? And then the kids, I don't know if they're kids or teenagers, I don't know.
Yeah, they're teenagers, preteens, something like that. The
teens, press on even when no one believes them. They still want to stand for what's right and fight for what's right. And I love that. And then obviously everyone else eventually comes around and gets taken care of. I think that's my favorite part, is just to see teens stand up and
overthrow a corrupt government.
Yes, not overthrow the government, but corrupt. That's the key word.
Yeah. And it's, for me, this, I'll just read word for word what I wrote. I wrote extremely political, good messaging, but boring Star Wars.
I think for the first time I liked this more than you did.
Yeah, I think we disagreed.
We're pretty close, or the same rating, or off by 0.5, but our ratings are probably going to be different here.
Yeah, and I think for me, I wrote that tea and flavin were MacGuffins, and so I think if I'm trying to remember back, I feel like there was a story that they wanted to tell with advancing Mandalore forward. There's a story that they wanted to tell with getting some Ahsoka training and some Padme and talking about neutrality, just more kind of Clone Wars stuff. And they used tea and sick children, more specifically flavor. They really wanted to find this, and you have senators, and it just seemed a little weird that they were going after all the details when it's you know, and then there's that like smug, corrupt cop.
But that's kind of Padme. Like, I don't feel like it's that surprising for her character. She would be the one.
I see that. And they do that a lot.
Satine.
They do that a lot in Clone Wars. You know, they kind of like go off and do their little missions and stuff. But yeah, you know, I think it wasn't bad for me. I think it was just a little boring. But I do like the messaging. You know, I think when you're looking at Clone Wars as a show kind of about war and Star Wars, you know, and politics and stuff, I think it worked well. And I put in here that Anakin sums it up well. He says that Ahsoka convinced untrained children to help her overthrow a corrupt government. Yeah, I feel like that sums this up fairly well. There's one thing that I put in here. It says neutrality causes suffering, which is interesting. You know, just again, there's this whole idea of like you have to play a side. You can't just stand by and do nothing. You have to be, you know, you have to be a part of it.
Yep.
Pick a side. But yeah, anyway, I think for me, if we'll start with ratings. I think for me, you know, I'll give this a 6 out of 10. For me, it's not bad. You know, just for me, it's, I don't know.
Yeah. We're actually not that different. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Still pretty close.
Yeah. And, you know, this one is interesting, and I think it's hard because you're coming off of, you know, off the heels of Death Watch, and there's a lot of, you know, strong arcs kind of around it. And so for me, I think just in context, you know, it works, but you could skip over these, in my opinion, and be fine. You know, there's nothing like crazy in it. But let us know what all of you guys think. You know, what kind of impression did this have on you? Is there anything that, you know, we overlooked and that, you know, we should have maybe gone a little deeper in? You know, overall, what are your thoughts on this arc? If you're not already, hop into the Discord. The link is down below. We just nerd out about Star Wars every single day. But with that, we are two Star Wars nerds, and may the Force be with you always.